The Adventure of the Unbreakable...
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
It's just a snake. Okay.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What?
Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
My head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait, I can't move. What the? Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, Oh, what's that Russian guy? We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. Do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You! You found me then. Da. We found you. And now, You pay, criminal. Interesting. Oh, great. How are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, hmm? Sorry. Now you have been found, it is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, hmm? No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Sato. Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where... Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Ha! You pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-san... Kazuma-san's body was discovered not long ago. No way. Here in this very cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs, surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please! No. No! Kazuma... It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way the Russian crewmen just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was going to die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you can find yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant, Mikotaba, you mean? From your friend, more to the point, surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about time that we steward is supposed to come and clean up the cabin. Steward. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there. I think it won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what. Why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We're supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Ah, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away, but the ship... But... Murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Suzuto-san? Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you too. Those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare's getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. Kasuma's death, about the incident. My best friend's death. How did he die? He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer. When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or, to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or, do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny your charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Suzuta-san. You have to tell me. cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died. The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until we... Excuse me, sorry. Until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So, presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Yes, I was, but... He would always wake up before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Suzuta-san arrived at his cabin door? I wondered. I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Interesting. Is she gonna ask me questions on these topics, or... Oh wow, she is. Interesting. That's new. Why are you even aboard this ship, Norihando-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No. That would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for that. I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at spread of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Lots of dots used. Kazuma-sama is... He was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Sasato-san. I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. Last night... If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into the wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed. Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd waken up then, perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Soto-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there is no one else who could possibly have done this. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry. But Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hey! What the... That was a Susato takedown. Susato what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry, prove it? Yes, your innocence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago. You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. The university color pin, proof that I'm a student. Paper seal. Kazuma would stick this over the doors of the wardrobe for me. It says keep out in Japanese, though I'm not sure the Russian crew can actually read it. Proof that I'm not guilty of this awful crime. Maybe there's something on it? This is the paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember really working hard to make it. But I'll never forget how Kazuma reacted. Do you expect the Russian crew to be able to read that? He said. Still, I was sure people would get the idea, even if they couldn't read it. So we used it anyway, and it worked. I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors. Tell me, when I discovered the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Yes, of course. The gentlewoman who discovered you peeled that sign from... I said gentlewoman. My bad. Alright. gentlewoman, the gentleman discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before you opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Alright. Well, now in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here, at least. Thank you! So, you finally believe me? I'm sorry, no. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please, don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death! Save real quick. Where do I even start? I already talked about everything with her. Susato-san, about this. I'm sorry, Naruhondo-san. But we don't have time to waste on anything else. We must find clues. She looks serious. Really quite deadly serious. Can I even move anywhere? I'm in handcuffs and under house arrest by the crew, not to mention Susato-san's constant glares. I think it's fair to say I'm stuck in this cabin for the time being, at least. I should focus on investigating in here to see what I can find out. What is that? What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of a brick, isn't it? Oh, whoops. Oh dear, that won't do. What did it say? Even though I don't see anything from the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Alright. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused to look around properly. Ah, yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhondo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look around using the D-pad, aren't you? Now, let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. There's an air vent up there. It's caught my eye. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole for which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that. I suppose maybe that's it. This is where Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Oh. That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if something important, something relevant to the case? Oh. All right, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either, but in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? That's a very... that's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot more... It carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I brought on board inside that case. Yes. I see it says this way up in Japanese. Which, in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. It was turned over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear. Stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue? For a statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ramshackled and everything mown down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. And perhaps it was a struggle, maybe? Between him and the actual killer. It was you, Naruhondo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see him at... Oh wait, that was Susato. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? Dang. She really hates her guts. Can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. When I went for help, and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across the secure door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across the outside of the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself, but the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. That would be no possibility of using the needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles up and down my spine. That's my dinner from last night. Roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But... did you eat it on the floor? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate it on the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So, he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no. Does that mean... poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. There's nothing on the table at all. The plate and culinary are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. No. Okay, I wonder what this says. Sege. The Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet you... can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoroughly? I said thoroughly, thoughtfully. Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship. Now you're going to bring that up? That up, are you? I can't win. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it was written in ink. He must have knocked down the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. Well, duh, 'cause it's in Russian, you big goof. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhondo-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I've no idea who he is or how he got in here, but... Sorry, I was just checking something. But he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall. No, Honda-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And he's investigating Kasuma's desk. Or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press A on the person when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. All right then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. I'll save real quick. I want to look at the sword. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now, he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. I think I've investigated pretty much about everything, right? Oh wait, the closet. I forgot about that. On the bed too. Okay, well the bed doesn't matter. Alright. This is... yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a try? Yes. In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just everyone is busy, that's all. You, good sir. I wanna... Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true. I see. Sorry. The criminal asking an investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. He might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Not. Of course not. Now, back to the corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. Alright, let's speak with the good old detective. Excuse me. Excuse me. Do you have a moment? Shh. This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps it would be best for the best. Greetings. I hope I haven't scared. Oh. I hope I haven't kept you long. What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ooh. That is cool. Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry. What do you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive, just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, what? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that? Perhaps. It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. For there is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the bare bond occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name. I don't even see one person who fits that bill. So it's true. It was you who did this, Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Norohando-sama. Norohando-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way I... That is 3 times in a row. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. Wow. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not Russian revolutionary. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in the most troubling predicament, do you? Do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it. See? What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it a deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed. And observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles. You see, I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. My apologies. How reminiscent of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The imitable Sherlock Sholmes. So, it's really you, the actual Sherlock Sholmes. The very same, the imitable actual Sherlock Sholmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world, Norohando-san. Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Mr. Sholmes, what do you make of this? Shh, quiet. When I'm ruminating in the course of my deductions, nothing must disturb my mind. Oh, so sorry. Ah, an Indian curry, perhaps. What's he ruminating about? The lunch menu? Great detective. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No, no. I have no her. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Randist magazine full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your interference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles the name of the game? Chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fascinatingly busy of late. Well, I should inform you that, Dr. Wilson has passed away. Why, this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really, I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science logical reasoning in its purest form. Science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A fugitive glance, a twitch of muscle, a slight inclination of posture. Fingernails, arms, sleeves, furrows in the skin. All things are data. Right. And the trained logical again makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can you look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Well, okay then. Kazuma's deaf. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Why do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Holmes was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit for Mr. Norohondo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh, really? Two facts, you say? Ooh. Interesting. Mr. Holmes, tell us, please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came into the cabin this morning? Yes, but first, let me be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Holmes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. I don't know if I can even say that. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left the dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian? Was he? Additionally, I considered Gardarhab may be the name of the killer. A certain Robert Gardy, perhaps. But in the interests of thoughtness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there, at least. Where you found Mr. Norohondo sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. As if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. I mean, that is kind of true though. But he's wrong as well. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This feels familiar. I can feel like there's a contradiction here somewhere. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhondo? Oh, yes, thank you. Alright. The Russian word for wardrobe in purple ink would appear to have been written in the victim's final moments. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia, and all of that. Ah, yes. Train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining the train of reasoning to me, do you think? Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian. I don't speak Russian. Your deduction just now. Can we talk about your deduction before the things... Can we talk about your deduction before the things you concluded about me? I mean... Now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in? Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 Pod. Ah, yes. The more sordid details. It was fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads: Revolutionary villain Borshevsky flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday. At last night, the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Shums has concluded that he was Russian based because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. Sorry. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, Vilian Borvosky. No. How could it be me? I don't look like anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please. And I might add, your name does not appear on this ship's passenger list. Need I say more? But that's because I'm a stowaway. You twat. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower. Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds of the man has perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reports, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik. How do you pronounce it? Bolshevik recently returned after a period of severe activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take a paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you? I observed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. Oh wait, I didn't read it. And you might find the article on the back of the back page of interest as well. Let me look at this real quick. Oh, is that the Queen of England? This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Norahanda-san? Well, no. I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She's very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. Gah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. Pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novik Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Palavova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? And why are they so hard to pronounce? Would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room. Sorry. Wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Rubles? Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Sada-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novavic ballad. It would seem that the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Anar Hondo. Okay. An article on the back page of the Russian newspaper. The headline reads, "Renowned prima ballerina the Novik ballet disappears from Shanghai." I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. A pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer you some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, "Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was all right, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off. I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. Okay, interesting. An article on the front page. Of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads, "Revolutionary Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." Okay. Oh, on the back? Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you. Though you may need someone to interrupt. It's all in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Well, I already looked at it, so... What are you investigating? Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes. The victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. But I don't think you should read his I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps eradicate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what Susato takedown is. Susato-san? Aren't you going to for the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhanda-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nando nando. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters of which I can read precisely none. So, what was all that showing off about before then? If you'd be so kind to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madame. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:45 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator griddle. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Diary Kazuma was keeping of his trip to London. According to the last entry he made before his death, he spied what happened appeared to be a speckled band. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writing in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation. I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exteliation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think, perhaps, that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No. There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever you mean. I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me. You clearly are misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? That's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So, what were you looking at my knees before? What were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway. That was then, and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Noranda-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? Yeah! After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me a choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for the chance to slip next door. Good idea. Situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of it. Find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Is something wrong, Norihando-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen them somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Wait, isn't that the detective butler guy? Yes, what can I do for you? It is him. I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is. didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped? I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. Never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out this hopeless situation. Ooh boy. How many hours have we been going for? Still an hour. I'll stop at like... probably like 2 hours or so. Special orders? So, what are your orders... So, what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. Hmm? This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even have been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said he would be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night every day. But I never imagined it would have happened here inside his own cabin. Not here at the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm in disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So, if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to this ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to pursue the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Norihano-san. By presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in possession. Evidence? It's just the same when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Okay. Inspector, can I show you this? What the? Is that a fabled Imperial Yume University pin badge? I'm not sure if it's really fabled exactly, but... So, you're a genuine student then? Sorry. Nothing. Like me... nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you were trying to say? Can I have my badge back, please? This is the paper seal that was stuck over the wardrobe doors this morning, isn't it? That's right. To try to stop the cabin steward, steward opening it and discovering me. Wouldn't it have been better to write it in English if you didn't know Russian? Maybe, but Ofura paper amulets like this are part of our culture, Inspector. And I thought thought if I made it look creepy enough, people would be too scared to look inside. It isn't easy being a stowaway, is it? Have you seen this photograph yet, Inspector? Oh dear, are you alright, Inspector? Yes, sorry, I'm fine. I was hoping to hide my upset with a fit of coughing and spluttering. I'm usually very good at it. But trying to stifle my feelings seems to have stifled my cough this time. It's all so sad. Asogi-san was such a promising young man. The Empire had such high hopes for him. I had such high hopes for him, even though I'm just a detective. We're all going to miss you, Kazuma. Can I show you this newspaper, Inspector? I'm sorry, but I can't read Russian very well. Oh no, that's alright. I know what it says. So you just wanted to point out that your university level linguistic talents is that it? Sorry. Nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you were trying to say? Sorry, forget I mentioned it. Okay, just the same dialogue. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilier grail. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilier, is it... You're very astute Inspector. The ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right, so if we can investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line, if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhondo-san. Just like move, and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. All right. Let's see what we can find out. Nice. All right. Progress. All right. Let's move. Actually, wait a minute. Okay, no. Kizuma's quarters, cabin on the SS Buria, and the scene of the crime. Kazuma was occupying this cabin for the voyage to Britain along with me as a stowaway. First class passageway. First and foremost, we must get out of this cabin. The passageway that connects the first class cabins on the SS Gloria. Alright. I'm finally out of that cabin. Hang on, sorry. Just checking the time. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less suspicious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on this study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in the first class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in Steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. There's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous. Even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here. No one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Naruhondo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks already. Yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please don't give me that pity look. This caught my eye. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yeah, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although, they seem to be using a lamp chalk or something as bait. let me see. Yes, I think that's what is called cheese. It, it's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? Wonder what it tastes like. You can't eat it, Norohana-san. The trap will snap shut on your finger. Really? But... I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? Yeah, all I've had to eat for the past couple weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. I'm hungry too, man. I could go for some cheese. At the end stream soon. What do you think this is? It's very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably not the best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this, I have to see... What are you doing, Norohana-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop this ship included. If you had to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, it's Kazuma's Sama's. Sorry. Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? Small is the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin is steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and how many cabins are there? This is quite a large ship. This is it? This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Oh, excuse me, we need to get inside the cabin here. Sailors' eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying keep out. That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's vision is definitely more effective. Doesn't look like he's going to let us pass. That's a problem. This looks like some plan of the SS Buria. It shows each deck look. The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink at the bottom of the ocean? Oh, it's really quite simple, Naruhanda-san. Is it? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. Okay. What is this book? That's a huge book on the top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. The ship's log. Ship's log? Is that what it said? Yeah. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and steady is much of a compliment, Naruhano-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. And all that's left is the door. That's the way to the second class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it just a moment. Just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started it with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery away. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid. Oh. We seem to have caught this sailor. We seem to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I'm not a sailor. My mother gave me a name. I am senior crewman Biff Strongnov. The best thing is to just avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Strong enough. About this first-class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Boreal ship, steamship, for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick up and throw you in the ocean. But Strongnov is not animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asagi's currently occupied? Ah. Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no? Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asagi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Wardot. He's very, very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure of that? Mr. Roylat is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylat came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is accompanying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. Last night... Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Strongov? Da, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Quiet. Soto-san, did you understand that? It was clearly, no. I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises, or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no. Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountains, or as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Alright. I will end stream here and call it a day. Because I am tuckered out. Whew. Yeah. Do that.